just so pleased to welcome our first speaker, Chris Winstead. He holds a PhD in 3 things: astronomy, neuroscience, and theology. It's quite impressive. Today, he will convince us that there is no God and we're all going to die. Let's welcome Chris Winstead. Welcome.
Let me start by saying only half of that introduction is true. I'll leave you to decide which half that is. Today I want to talk about the notion of intelligent design. Intelligent design is this concept that we have to come from some kind of intelligent creator. The reason for that is that when you look inside anything, when you look at biology, when you look at the complexity of the circulatory system, or when you look at the arrangements of the planets and everything in the universe, there's this beautiful design, and there's just no way that that could have happened, that it could have just come out of nowhere. Somebody had to design this. Somebody had to design life. Everything is so finely tuned. Almost as though it was designed intelligently. But what I want to say is that actually the way things are designed is really, really stupid. For example, most of the universe wants to kill us. So for instance, we live on this planet, and compared to us, it's kind of a big planet, but compared to the whole universe, it's this little tiny speck. And it's only on this little tiny speck that life is actually possible. Most places in the universe, if you put life there, it will die immediately. If you put it in space, it'll die. If you put it in a star, it'll die. If you put it on most planets. The universe is not a very habitable place for life. There's this idea that the forces of nature are just right. They're finely tuned for life. They're not. They're not. We're just lucky to have this little tiny spaceship that lets us live. And that's just the universe. Then you get to Earth, and then you have volcanoes and floods and tsunamis and Hurricane Sandy and viruses. Everything on the Earth is trying to kill us. And then when you look at life, that's another argument, is that life is designed in such a perfect, efficient way. Did you know that life actually happened fairly early on the planet? But it took 3 to 5 billion years just for single-celled life, just for little bacteria, to actually grow into multicellular life forms. 3 to 5 billion years. That is not very efficient. I don't know who designed those things, but man, it took a really long time for it to do anything. It's not a very good design. Alright, so then we get to the human body. The human body is this magnificent piece of design. Like, how could this have just happened? But it's not. We have all these genetic disorders. We have Alzheimer's disease, and we have sickle cell anemia, and these are things that are just errors in our genetic code. If one little tiny nucleotide gets out of place, then the whole thing gets messed up. That's not very good design. If you design something, would you design it so that if one little molecule gets out of place, the entire thing just goes haywire? It's no good. Or what about birth defects? What about babies that are born with the heart outside of the body? Why would God do that? If you were God, would you just say to a mother, "I'm sorry, but," and the mother's going to be like, "Oh, you're about to tell me that I'm going to give birth to Jesus," and he's like, no. It's much, much darker than that. Why would God do that? That's a messed up thing to do. Another argument is that the human eye alone is so complex. It can see all the, how did we get from a cell to an eye. But really, the eye isn't that great, because we see this little tiny spectrum of light, but the entire electromagnetic spectrum is really big, and there's a lot of things in there that we can't see, but it would be really nice if we could see it. For instance, radon. All right, radon, if we're exposed to a certain amount of radon, we just die. We can't see it. It's invisible to us. We walk into it, we don't know any better. We can't see magnetic fields, ionizing radiation. Our smell, we have a great sense of smell, but you know what we can't smell? Carbon monoxide. What happens if you breathe in a bunch of carbon monoxide? You die. It's awful. We're warm-blooded. That means that we have to constantly eat food. Like an alligator can eat a chicken a month and it's fine. You're good. It's cold-blooded. It doesn't need to eat anything more than that. But we are warm-blooded. We have to constantly put food in ourselves to create this power plant of energy. We have parts we don't need. We have parts we don't need. Why? The designer of a magnificent building, do you think he would just put a room that nobody's allowed to go in and it doesn't do anything? Why? It's bad design. How about this? We eat and breathe through the same hole, which means that some percentage of the population is going to die from choking. They're going to choke to death because we eat and breathe through the same hole. We don't have to. There are mammals that don't, like dolphins. Dolphins have a different hole for breathing and eating, so they don't have to die. I mean, imagine that if you could just be drinking a soda and then, like, I'm giving a speech, but I'm drinking a soda out of the hole in the side of my neck or something like that. That'd be great. You wouldn't have to worry about choking. It'd be so much better. But mostly, I think the biggest thing that gets me is what is going on between our legs. Because if you were a city planner, would you put an entertainment complex right in the middle of an open sewage treatment plant? No designer, no engineer in the world would design that. The problem with intelligent design is that we look at the pretty things and we say, oh, that must be wonderful. We must have somebody design that. But we don't look at the ugly things and all of the things that want to kill us out there. Life doesn't exist because of some elaborately well thought out design. Life exists despite the opposite of that. Life exists in spite of the chaos and randomness. We're kind of lucky, really. People want to use intelligent design as a way to question science, but really, it's our big brain and our grasp of science that helps keep us alive even better, despite the fact that the entire universe wants to kill us. Thank you.